Hey guys, this is Kalia with Southern Regime. Today we have Lawrence Hicks. He's actually written a book about how to sue the credit bureaus. I know some of you may think that suing is a little bit daunting, especially if you're not an attorney or you don't know much about the laws. But he's going to explain that process to us. So hopefully this is an option for you if you've kind of hit a wall with the credit bureaus. So welcome, Lawrence. How are you?
Doing great. How you doing?
Pretty good. So for me, this is an interesting topic because I do have a credit repair company. We do sometimes get to a point with clients where it's just like, all right, the things that, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, the things they're supposed to be doing, they're not taken care of. And they're not always afraid of the CFPB. A lot of times there's just sending in a report and then they close it and you really don't get any resolution from the issue. So with you, how did you know it was time to sue them?
Um, I've been doing this actually credit repair for about 10 years though. So I've exhausted almost every process that everyone has done. So I've ran into those same walls, but then I kept asking myself, like, if they're doing me wrong and I know they're doing me wrong, there has to be something else for me that I can do. So I always like to be investigative and research things and listen to a lot of people. So I was just gathering information from a lot of places. And I heard someone say, well, they won't come to court if you sue them. Cause I'm like, so you know what? Let me just try it. And this was years ago. So I tried it. And then I thought about it. I'm like, man, you know what? I know the law. So I disputed them on the law and won. But then I was like, you know what? There's got to be something more simple. So as I started thinking about it, everything, I'm like, you know what? What they're doing is basically a defamation of character. Because if I'm telling you this is inaccurate and I'm getting denied places and people are looking at me like I'm don't know how to pay bills or whatever the case may be, then you're defaming my character because everyone that looks at this is going to be like, this is who this person is when it's not the true picture. So it's like, okay, defamation of character was my loophole around all of the laws and everything because everyone can understand what defamation of character is in a short period of time. So the learning curve is very, very short. So that was kind of the way around all the laws and everything. So once I developed that, I said, all right, let's try the process out. So I always started with myself and then people around me. And once we had the success, it was like, oh yeah, this works. Now I can offer it to the public.
So for this process, I'm assuming you're not an attorney. So is this something you can do through small claims court, or how do you approach this? Like, what's the first step?
And just to finish up the round of your first question, yeah, how I know when to sue is when they won't get this stuff off with all my disputes I'm doing. I'm frustrated. Hey, so that's what it's time. But I
Okay.
all measures, and you like, you know what? I would rather just go have a drink and keep dealing with this. So when you feel like that, it's that. But
Okay.
and then to answer your question now, yes, small claims, yes, usually. But as I've been hearing in different states, it's small claims here in Alabama where I'm currently located, but I've heard people like in California say they have to go to a California registered agent or it's civil or there. And then I think it was up in Ohio or Illinois or somewhere they were saying it's a civil or some. So that verbiage is just to get you started. And I always tell people in your local area, ask for help, let them tell you what their verbiage is because that it may be small claims in Alabama, but it may be something else somewhere else.
Yeah, so like I'm in Louisiana and it would be small claims and people don't really realize like how affordable that actually is because here it's $125 to like set up their claim. So like how much is it in Alabama if you don't mind me asking?
That's a good question you asked that. Actually, as I've seen, it ranges. The more you sue for, usually the more that's going to cost you in fees. So they have different ranges and it goes up from there. So,
So,
an example. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I know here in Alabama, the maximum is 6,000. We sued for 3,000 once. It was like $170 roughly. But then you bumped it up to 4,000. It went up to like 250.
So in most cases, um, I'm sure they want to get this off their books. So I don't know if they're settling and paying you the amount that you're asking for, or are they saying, all right, we'll just go ahead and delete it from your report. And if they just delete it from your report, do you continue to pursue them for the money that you're trying to sue them for?
Usually, what I have made my business is to go after the deletions because we know the power of credit and all you can do, and it's just a time delay. I need this gone today. So
Right.
that's the best part about it. The deletions are immediate. As soon as they agree to do it, they send you over to update credit report so you can get right rocking that day. You don't have to wait on anything. But the money part is the new thing we've actually been doing. I actually got some more reviews that I've been doing. We've actually been getting the money from them, but I leave that up to the individual. The main focus is to get to deletions. But if you can negotiate for some money, then sure, why not? But if they give you pushback, then I'll say, hey, look, make sure you get your deletions because whatever you're asking for, you're gonna get 100 times that
Right.
basically.
If your credit's in the right spot, right?
Yeah.
So like what, I guess like how long is the process? So let's say I sent my lawsuit off today, and they receive it in the next 4 or 5 days. How long is it before they reach out and start that process? Or do they reach out? Do they reach out by letter? Do they call you? What does that look like?
Usually, if you do, I haven't done the sheriff serving because none of them are local. I don't think anyone has had the sheriff option unless if you down where Equifax or
Oh,
TransUnion, you
like in
might.
Atlanta.
Yeah, because it's only local. But usually it's gonna be certified mail, and the courts will send you when they got it, who received it, date and time. So they have all that. That usually, from my seeing, is about 2 weeks till about 6 or 7 weeks, and then all these things are out of our control because it's processing the mail and all these other things. But what you're looking for, they will reach out to you either by call, email, or a letter. They'll either send it to you or it'll be the response through the court.
Gotcha. Hmm. So they reach out, like let's say that, I mean, have you had an experience where they call you?
Of course.
Okay. So can you kind of walk me through this? So they call and they want to address the lawsuit. And do they ask you off the bat, do you want to settle, or do they try to dispute that you're in the wrong as the consumer?
That's the best part about this. I can show voicemails, emails from myself. That's usually the first line that they say, hey, what can we do so we can settle? So that's what I tell people because we got two ways we do it. When you waiting on the response and they haven't reached out to you, then that representative name and number you send a response. When you reach out to them, that's the first thing you're saying because that's where it's going already because I preempted you already. We went through this already. So you calmly just say, hey, look, we can settle out of court. We don't have to go to court. And then they like, oh yeah, we was gonna call you and say that anyway. So hey, what do you want? So it's usually easy and simple. Once you get to that point, you'll be amazed.
Hmm. Okay. Let's see what else I got here. Most of the questions. Oh, I did have one. So, obviously, every consumer reporting agency is different, right? So they all operate a little differently. Is there one that's more difficult to like get a result from than the other? Like, is Experian easier than Equifax, or are they all about the same?
Are we talking about strictly suing them?
Yes.
I would say I don't think Experian, or I would say Experian is the one that likes to play the most mind games, but they usually end buckle. So it's the one that usually just messes with your mind the most. Equifax, they don't really want to play with you like that. They say, all right, look, we called to get a result. What can we do? They're usually pretty good. TransUnion, the same thing. But as I've been hearing, Experian likes to play mind games, but the end result usually be in your favor. So if you let them play mind games, then that's how they can try to sway it their way. But that's another thing I teach people about the mind games they're gonna do, and I walk them through. Look, don't let them take you down that road.
Right.
And they seem to care the less. So with Experian, that's why they get the most fire and heat because it seems like they really have a disregard for anything that's going on, and they just do it. It's just no care there.
Hmm. Okay. So I am gonna put the link to your book at the bottom of this video so people can either purchase that or I know you have a consultation system set up. So if they have questions or they kind of need you to hold their hand through this process, I know there's something you also offer. So I'm going to share that information. But regarding the book, can you share like just one or two gems that maybe people wouldn't know that you have that they'll see when they purchase the book?
Basically just the process because it's really simple. It's just about them first. So I like to say this is a mindset thing, and I've learned life has a theme. So if you understand how to have success in areas that requires a lot out of you, then that's something you can transfer to other areas, because it just really comes down to how you're looking at things, and that's going to determine the level of success you have. So I always tell people this is more mental than information, because prime example, I'm talking to people and I'm teaching them, and then they go down there and they maybe get a bad representative that has a bad day or whatever, and they're giving them just
Oh
bad
yeah.
information. And it's like, you know better, but they're telling you that. So it's like, do you give up and you say, you know what, this isn't easy as Lauren said it was, and you just give up? But then it's about that transfer. I was talking about the relentlessness of a person. So if you already are persistent and relentless, you don't take that, because you're so focused on accomplishing your goal that whatever they do, it only gives you more energy to proceed with your goal. It can't tear you down. So the mentality, I always tell people, that can't be given to you. That's something that you just gotta want and have. And if you have that, then success is always in your favor.
Yeah, I think as a similar situation with just like getting inquiries removed with Experian, or people be like, oh, I called and I talked to the rep and they said, no, call back.
Yeah.
You just got to talk to the right person. Call back. It'll get done. I promise.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of that is just process. Um, I mean, that's really everything that I think I wanted to cover. Is there anything else that you want to share? Or I know, did you want to talk a little bit about the services that you offer?
I guess just briefly, like you said, you brought up the book. I say you put the link down there so you can go there and pick your payment option and do that. That's fairly simple. And then the consultation calls, people really like those, because you can get me to basically walk you through the book step by step and all of those verbal things, and you can bounce a question off me at that moment. And then you can have the book as a resource if you forgot anything on the call. So I always tell people the combination of them is the best. You go ahead and book the call or buy the book prior, ask your questions from the book, or you book the call, listen to me, and then you have the book to guide you. And then I have like images in the book. I have registered agents. So as I'm talking to you about these forms and filling them out, I have forms in there to show you, all right, fill it out this way. This is what we done. Here's a response, this is what you're looking for. So the book brings things in more full fold for you, because if I'm telling you about things and you're a visual person as I am, you would be like, man, I wonder what that looks like. So
Right.
with that combination, I think it's the one and the two though. So if you're serious, I think a consultation and the book, and then I offer a discount. So usually the book is $200 or $199, and then the consultations are $300. So you book the consultation for $300, and then you can get the book for half off, only $100. So we'll say a $400 package, I think, will get you where you need to go.
And I mean, I would say to everybody watching, $400 to get your credit where it needs to be is a great price, especially even if you're just paying for credit repair. The comparison, it doesn't compare. So if you guys have, yeah, go ahead.
And I don't think that states to the value of it, because the best part about this is you now have it forever to use for anyone else that do it. So this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Right, cousin, uncle, mama, brother, whomever, you can teach them that information too. Well, man, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, guys, if you want to reach Lawrence, all his information will be in the drop down. And thanks.
My pleasure.